Alright guys, so for today we're going to talk about the best characters in Solo Leveling Arise for you to invest in, and I hope you guys enjoy. The video starting in just a moment, right after you subscribe. 80% of viewers aren't, so make sure you are subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. And now we're going to go ahead and officially get into it. So the one thing I want to kind of say very quickly as a precursor is that they designed this game in a way where they're trying to make you take, for example, a full dark team versus a boss that's weak to dark. They'll even make it to where like other elements are weak or they're debuffed. Like your fire characters, for example, will do less damage versus that boss. So make sure you're not bringing a fire character. That's the implication, right? But that's not exactly how that's translated to the game, because a lot of the characters have a lot of use cases. Whether it's to be a breaker, whether it's to be somebody that's utility providing shields to your team, whether it's to be a supporter character, a DPS, a bleeding character. Maybe you're debuffing the opponent in some way with decreases in defense like these two characters are, or maybe you're applying a debuff like the charms or the punishment that these two characters are providing. Maybe you're even providing Sung Jin-woo or your other teammates something really strong in the form of a dash that this guy is providing your team. There are a lot of different use cases. Maybe you're taking off a shield on the opponents, which is, by the way, broken as hell on Dongsu. Other things like stuns can be applied. You can pick up shields or other things from other characters. There are just a lot of different things, whether you're a breaker, you're not a breaker. A lot of the characters have a lot of use cases, right? So that is one thing I wanted to kind of make sure that I mentioned. By the way, I wanted to mention on a side note that I am a part of the creator program for Solo Leveling Arise. So if you guys make any purchases in the game, please use my code DFREE, D-F-R-E-E. So in my opinion, we're going to start here. The number one character that I think you should be building in the game, aside from Jin-woo, which is obvious, right, is Min Byung-gu. Why? That's not to say he's the best character. I don't think he's that. But he is arguably the most universally useful character. He's the type of character that it doesn't matter what you're taking on, what team you need to build, you put him in the team. Does that make sense? You put him in the team regardless of anything. Whether it's to support Sung Jin-woo, whether it doesn't matter. You put him in the team. I gotta say it again. You put him in your team. Why? Numerous reasons. If he's a standalone character, he's going to be providing value in this form of a heal. He's going to be providing value in the disguise combo with disguise into punishment, which will then make the opponent take extra damage. He will also be providing bonuses in the form of the critical hit increases here, critical hit rate and damage, by the way. He'll also be providing those two things here on the passive, which is really strong. And then if you're using him with Sung Jin-woo, Sung Jin-woo is getting the passive bonus of critical increase, which obviously, again, is strong. And then also with this support skill punishment, and then healing, Sung Jin-woo is getting that too. The healing is like the least impressive thing he does, basically. But yeah, so this guy is incredibly strong. He basically does supports, debuffs, healing too, but he does all the things that you kind of would want a character to do. And one thing that's really cool about what he's doing is it's kind of non-specific. A lot of characters, whether it's like, say for example, Seo here, she is, and I'm probably pronounced that wrong, she scales with her stuff off of max HP. We'll look at Silvermane here. He scales off of attack. Same for Choi. We'll look here. There's max HP, but he's scaling off of defense. And so you want to, if you're going to use a support character or characters that apply bonuses to your team, you want to have them at least applying that bonus to a stat that's useful to the character. This guy has no need for the attack stat, basically. He doesn't scale off of it anywhere. He scales off of defense only. And so when you look at this guy, he's increased his critical, which is universal. And then also we see here he does the punishment, which is universal as well. It's not saying, you know, any sort of specific things or like that. So he is one of the best characters in the game. Now, for the actual best character in the game, that's probably okay. Well, let's just quickly say this: Alicia and Shaheen, if they both come out together, I think Shaheen is for sure coming out. Absolutely build them. They're amazing. So just gotta say that, right? But as of now, Emma, in my opinion, is the best character in the game. Crazy overall skill usage, just crazy range, damage. She breaks. She does the burn. She does the emission thing that she does. She just dimension break already. She's just everywhere. Does everything. Heat absorption strong here. Increases defense penetration with the emissions. Just man, just crazy character. It's kind of funny, man. It's kind of funny. Like they built this character to just do every goddamn thing. So easily one of the most universal characters. And another thing I'd like to say for characters being useful in a lot of pieces of content is also whether or not they break, because breaking is valuable. Not every boss is breakable, but the ones that are, I think that if you have a breaking character that's universally good like she is, you get extra value out of that. Speaking of another universally valuable character, she's extremely strong too for some of the same stuff. She's a DPS character. Not really, she's not designed to be that. She's a tank role character, but she is DPS by the merit that she does a lot of damage and she spams her skills, and that's really strong, by the way. So individually she's just amazing. She also has breaks, she does shields, which is really strong too, and just amazing character overall that you want to invest in. I'm not going to spend a ton of time there, but just kind of the point. So a lot of times I build teams and it's just these three characters, and I kind of clear whatever I want to clear. It just kind of is what it is. So you have the top 2 DPS characters in the game, and both of these characters, and they're both strong for different reasons. So if you're keeping track, those 3 characters, Min Byung-gu, the 2 girls, these 2 are the top 5, and then the 6th one would be Baek Yoon-ho. Now those are my top characters I recommend you guys building. Top 2 DPSs here. Choi also does defense decreases. Quick note on that, if you're using him as a support for Sung Jin-woo, he does do that too. It just loses a little bit of value because Sung Jin-woo's Shadow Step defense decrease will supersede this and take priority. This one will no longer, they don't stack together, it's just only one is active at a time. So anyway, this is good though if you don't have the debuff currently going for Shadow Step, but nonetheless, it's just kind of there. It's a little bit of a win more thing, but it's still cool. I'm not mad at it. But other than that,
don't play with fire.
We take a look at what he also can do here. Just overall, basically just crap ton of damage. I don't really need to explain this. Just does a crap ton of damage. Also, Silvermane is a little bit of an interesting character because he has an HP pool, but you don't want to ever get hit with him. He's designed to use his HP as fuel for his offense. He burns his own HP with his skills and his weapons. You just don't want to ever basically get hit with him. He even has super armor, implying that you can get hit. I think this is here so if you do happen to get hit, you don't have to take a halt to your offense, but you don't want to use that. You still want to evade everything. He's extremely strong if you pair him with a character like Min Byung-gu for the criticals and I guess the marginal healing and the punishment too. But the main thing that this guy's going to be useful for is as a support for Sung Jin-woo. He offers Sung Jin-woo probably the strongest individual support, and you don't really care about the debuff there that Jin-woo takes because you want to be dodging everything anyway. But nonetheless, he's also useful for the ultimate applying bleed, or no, excuse me, the where is it at? The bleed is on this skill, right? So it's over here somewhere. God dang it, so many skills. Also, zooming in ruined my entire flow. I don't even see it anymore. Where the hell's the bleed at? Oh, it's on the passive, right? Yeah, there it is. Dude, where's the passive? So, oh, the bleed. So the bleed. So bleed is extremely strong in this game. It basically just rips through high HP bosses. The user deals damage equal to 1% of the current HP every 3 seconds. It is absolutely insane for the super chunky bosses, particularly if they don't have a break gauge. This guy's individual damage output is extremely high, and you want to have him built for that reason in particular. He's the type of character you can plug into a team and just kind of get value out of him individually, right? Now, Choi, I kind of already talked about, but again, just the offensive output there. Now, we talk about the other Baek Yoon-ho. He is the best breaking character in the game currently. He has the heavy break, light break, heavy break, medium break here. He also is doing defense decreases on multiple skills, which is also extremely strong too. And then on the passive here too. So you just want to have this guy kind of go. You want to have this guy kind of invested in. Increases the user's break effectiveness by 20% with 2 advances in him. He just is going to shred. So he is a breaking demon. Anytime you're versus a boss that needs breaks, actually this is what I do. I take him and these 2 girls, and then I call it a day, because you just keep the boss perma broken and you're good to go. Now, the next 2 characters that I'm going to mention are not as impactful. Those ones are the ones I recommend. But there are several other characters that are in here, whether they're SR or not, but they're maybe not as impactful for other reasons. First and foremost, she's really strong as an AoE damage dealer. I love her. She's amazing. Also, she does the cleansing thing, which is really strong. Her support skill for Jin-woo is amazing too. Applies breeze, which removes debuffs on the team, and also increases ultimate skill damage. Like, hello, like that's pretty insane for some Jin-woo support. You absolutely want that and love that from her. Now, I want to kind of mention Kang as a proxy because he's able to do the bleeding thing too. He also does bleed on the support skill, so that's solid. So you really want to have investment in Kang too for similar reasons as Baek Yoon-ho. However, Baek Yoon-ho has a better bleed because he's got 1% instead of 0.6, right? And it's for 30 seconds every 3 seconds. Is there a difference there?
Any objections?
3 seconds, yeah, so no difference, just better at it. And there's also usefulness in this guy taking off a shield. Also stunning is really strong. A lot of people flock to Libora. She's actually designed to be an offensive damage output character. However, her main value is in the charm that she's putting out there. She also can do a zone that increases the damage from dark party members. So if you're using her alongside, you know, a dark team alongside Silvermane, things like that, they will do more damage. But primarily, she's putting out those charms, which make the opponent take 15% extra damage. Woo Jinchul, the character most people are going to just say is terrible, and he's not great individually, but he has one of the best supports in the game, in my opinion. He provides dashes to Sung Jin-woo. 2 dashes back to Sung Jin-woo is pretty damn strong. Pretty damn strong. He also breaks there at a medium break, which I think is the average rate in the game. However, I don't know that he does that if you don't have the advance in him, does he? Where's that at? Increases defense penetration. Meditation of power increases break effect. It's not that one. It's yeah. Okay, so never mind. So he's kind of just got like light break, stuff like that. Not the craziest breaking skills. However, his playstyle is kind of fun. I do also like how he gets super armor and another dash here when he's used as an individual character. That's pretty solid too, but mainly you're using him for Sung Jin-woo. And so if you're using these characters as support specifically for Sung Jin-woo, then they all of a sudden don't require as much investment in most content. So that it just kind of is what it is. But the other characters, these top 6, are pretty universal. In most pieces of content, whether it's as a support or as individual hunters, you are taking some combination of these top 6 characters to beat pretty much anything. It just is what it is right now. And then we'll also factor in the other 2 girls that aren't out yet. And then obviously as the video ages, we'll have to factor in other new characters with foresight. Now, I want to kind of wrap it up, and I'll just kind of do some quick hitter stuff for some of these characters. Freezing, really strong. Just the utility of that. Also has a break. I talked about bleed here. Has a break here, and that's kind of it for the support. But she also does like a poison skill in here somewhere, so she's pretty strong. Creates poisonous zone, so that's pretty strong. And right here makes the enemies immobilized, so that's kind of the effect of that. Also deals damage equal to 30% of attack every 3 seconds with the poison here. Deals break damage every 3 seconds too, so she's extremely strong. This guy creates shields, things like that. She's healing, but she's kind of whatever, to be honest. The best thing with Juhi is that she increases the team's HP in here somewhere. That's the oh, it's the base passive. Increases the team's HP is really strong, especially if they're scaling off of HP. There's more value in that, and then obviously they're more tanky anyway because they have a bigger HP pool. So that's kind of the value of Juhi. This guy's got some fun stuff too, but not really much to really write home about. But increases damage out to non-boss monsters. Really good for those types of stages. And that's pretty much it. The other characters down here have their own usefulness, but that's pretty much it for hunters. Now, I wasn't really going to talk about weapons because I think weapons are in the eye of the beholder. I don't actually know that there's a weapon you should avoid. In fact, I flat out don't think there is. I think weapons are in the eye of the beholder in terms of what you're trying to do, in terms of the piece of content you're going to take on. I think the top priorities are going to be these 2, and that's pretty straightforward. But if you have advances in any of these other weapons, then you obviously are going to want to prioritize them too. Now, Thetis' Grimoire is really strong because of the cold ice, which makes the opponent take extra damage when they're frozen, and the skill of this will freeze the opponent. So that combination is oftentimes I like landing a Shadow Step, then using cold ice. Ideally, they're in the break, by the way. And then I also will throw my ultimate. It's just a lot of extra stacking there. So you're gonna wind up doing a lot of damage. That's one of the things I like doing. This bleeds your HP off. It's basically like Baek Yoon-ho in weapon form almost. Not really, but also just gets stronger, increases crit hit rate. It's gonna shred the bosses. This weapon here also has a bleed on it, so really strong here. And when you have these weapons on, some of them are gonna have other effects like paralyze here. They're gonna also have increases of attack or elemental type damage, things like that. Critical rate, like we saw earlier. Things are going to be spawning with these. This thing I think gives you a shield. Yeah, decreases cooldown, gives a shield, and increases attack and defense. Really solid, actually. So I don't really know that there's a weapon you should avoid in particular. But I think that, although that's not really the point of today's, it's not the inverse, but I think that you should be focusing on your SSR weapons. If you have advances in other weapons, go for it. Now, in terms of weapons that I would work on that are not SSR, I would consider working on the Demon books, the Demon Grimoire. This is really, really strong. Quest one is really, really strong. I already talked about the Casca Fang for the bleed, really strong. You get this, I think, for free. It's really strong as well for the critical. It's like a light version SSR of the Demon Plum Sword, almost, right? The bow is good too for the breaking on it as well, if I remember correctly. But that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all next time. Take it easy.